All right, today we're going on a bit of a microscopic manhunt. We're tracking an invader that targets one of the most common farm animals in the world, the chicken. But it does so with this, surprising and really devastating efficiency. This is the story of a disease that can make a simple cold go very, very wrong.
So, what does happen when something that looks like just a common cold escalates into a full-blown crisis for an entire flock? That's really the central mystery we're going to be unpacking today.
Okay, so the official name for this is Infectious Coryza, or IC for short. What is it? Well, it's an acute, highly contagious disease that hits a chicken's upper respiratory tract. And here's something really important to get out of the way right now. This disease is limited only to chickens. There's absolutely zero public health risk to people. Now, every story needs a villain, right? And in this one, our antagonist is microscopic. So let's meet the culprit behind this contagious cold. The invader's name is a bit of a mouthful, Avibacterium paragallinorum. And really, this bacterium has one mission in life: find a chicken and colonize its upper respiratory tract. Once it's in, it starts setting the stage for all the chaos that follows. And like any good villain, this one even has an alias. It used to be called Haemophilus paragallinorum, but honestly, whatever you call it, its method is the same. It's a gram-negative bacterium, and it has these virulence factors, like a protective capsule, that give it this really strong attraction, a tropism, for the tiny hair-like cells in a chicken's airways. It just latches right on and gets to work.
So once our invader has a foothold, how does it actually launch its attack? And how does it spread so darn effectively through a whole population?
Well, its target is exclusive, chickens only. And while chickens of all ages can get sick, the disease hits older birds the hardest. We're talking particularly those between 3 and 9 months old. That's really when they're most susceptible to a severe reaction.
The whole chain of infection usually kicks off with just one carrier bird, who might not even look sick. From there, the bacteria just explode. They spread through contaminated drinking water, through the air over short distances, and of course, through direct contact. The main takeaway here is just how incredibly contagious this thing is.
And the speed of this invasion? It's staggering. The incubation period is just 1 to 3 days. And in about a week to 10 days, you can go from a single sick bird to the entire flock showing symptoms. It moves like wildfire.
Okay, so now we get to the evidence. What does the battle raging inside these infected chickens actually look like? What's the visible, physical toll this disease takes on its host?
The classic signs of infectious coryza are, well, they're pretty hard to miss. You'll see this thick, gooey discharge from the nose and eyes, and this really significant facial swelling, which is actually a type of edema. In the really bad cases, the wattles get so swollen it's sometimes just called wattle disease, and you can tell the birds are having a hard time breathing. Telling different respiratory diseases apart can be tricky, but here is a major clue. While something like infectious bronchitis might have some similar signs, that really prominent facial swelling, that is the classic calling card of infectious coryza. It's the one feature that really makes it stand out.
So why do all these symptoms show up? Well, if you look at the microscopic level, you see a marked loss of cilia and microvilli. Basically, the bacteria are physically destroying those little hairs that are supposed to keep the airway clear. That damage is what causes all the massive inflammation and that mucus buildup we see on the outside.
And this is where we hit a critical turning point, because infectious coryza is bad enough on its own, but it gets so much more dangerous when it calls for backup, when it invites other pathogens to join the party.
The initial infection is kind of like a battering ram, just knocking down the bird's defenses. And that opens the door for other things, like the infectious bronchitis virus to cause even more damage, or for opportunistic bacteria like E. coli to invade the lower respiratory tract, which, by the way, Avibacterium rarely does on its own. These accomplices can turn a short, acute illness into a severe, chronic respiratory disease.
All right, let's get to the final act. What are the measurable consequences? What's the ultimate impact on the flock when this disease really takes hold?
Well, the economic impact is serious, and it is immediate. As the birds get sick, they stop eating and drinking as much, and that leads directly to a huge drop in egg production, anywhere from 10 to a whopping 40%. In fact, if you see a drop of more than 20%, that's a pretty good sign those other accomplices have joined the fight.
And this brings us to the ultimate cost. While simple cases have low mortality, severe outbreaks can be just devastating.
Get this, even without other complicating pathogens, the mortality rate can reach as high as 48%. That's nearly half the flock gone.
So the presence of those accomplices, it changes the whole game. An uncomplicated case might be over in about 10 days, but a complicated case, that can drag on for more than 3 weeks and just settle in as a chronic, debilitating condition for any birds that survive.
And all of this leaves us with one last big question to think about. Avibacterium paragallinarum is definitely a formidable foe all by itself. But maybe, just maybe, the biggest threat isn't the initial invader, but the door it props open for everything else that comes rushing in after it.